What up, everybody? Youth News back.
We're actually in the same room
For
this
once.
time. It's a miracle.
We won't have technical difficulties this time.
Hopefully, yeah.
I mean, only technical difficulties we had last time was on your end.
Was on my end. An update. I sent my laptop in for repair because a couple of days later, then it would not turn on. It did not turn on the power button. It wasn't powering on. And so I sent it in for repair. It's under warranty, and here they had to replace the motherboard. So,
fun.
Yeah, that's fun and all, but I got my trusty old paper, my trusty old notes, and Tyler's up on the laptop, so we'll see how it goes, huh? And we have to shorten our time today. It's only going to be a 15-minute long show, and we've already used up a minute and a half, so, just because of plans for Spreaker and stuff, but it's alright, we love broadcasting, so bring to you what we can. I guess I'm going to kick things off, right, Tyler?
Yeah, and real quick, I just want to mention something. We're trying something new, where I'm listening back to what we're saying away, and it's so hard to do.
I'm sure you'll get used to it.
I'm getting used to hearing it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting used to hearing my voice a couple seconds after.
Mm-hmm.
For you, it's not that big of a deal, but for me, it's
wasn't
like
that big of a deal. Well, I understand how. Yeah, okay, it could be difficult for you, but all right. Well, Tyler, it's title weekend. Title weekend is here. We got some juicy matchups. The sad part is, though, you only got 3 games left until the end of the NFL season, which that is sad for me, to say the least. But
great news for me.
I know Tyler's tired of me talking about football, but I'm not.
You'll be talking about like
Off-season
the day
stuff,
after as well.
Still, yeah. The first game, the early game, Packers at Falcons, 3:05 Eastern Time on January 22nd on Fox. 2 key injuries. 2 very key injuries for each team, or one for each, I should say. Jordy Nelson for the Packers, probably the biggest injury, period, of any of the teams this week. He was limited participant in Wednesday and Thursday's practice, and then he sat out Friday due to the flu which was going around the Packers locker room as well. His availability will be determined on Saturday or Sunday just before the Packers face the Falcons. We don't know if he'll play, don't know if Nelson is going to be effective or not either, even if he does. This coming out of Roto World at 4:13 today. Over on the Falcons side of things, Julio Jones, with a toe injury, was limited at today's practice. He was listed as a did not play on Wednesday and Thursday. Friday reports had him returning to full practice, but he was limited. And either way, Julio is planning on facing the Packers. Health remains a lingering question mark, but Julio's presence on the field is still massive for the Atlanta Falcons. This report also came out on Roto World at 3:42 today. 2 key injuries. Nelson looks good to probably sit. Julio Jones looks good to probably play. Big injuries here. I think this could be the difference in a potential Falcons win here. Julio playing, Nelson likely not. Like I said, there's an illness, a flu going around the Packers locker room. Rodgers caught it as well. But moving on, Rodgers versus Ryan. Wouldn't want to have it any other way. These are the 2 most dynamic quarterbacks this year, arguably. You have Tom Brady thrown in there, but Rodgers, 4,428 yards, 40 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and Matt Ryan, almost 5,000 yards, 38 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Look, these guys are the 2 best quarterbacks in the league, in my opinion, right now. But defense still wins championships. People are going to look at this game and they're going to say, it's going to be a high-scoring affair, and I think so too. I'll get my pick at the end of this preview. But I still think defense wins championships. Whichever defense can contain, I'm not going to say stop, because you can't stop either one of these guys. Whichever defense can slow down the other quarterback just slightly, that's the team that is going to win. Atlanta is on a historic pace this season. The 8th best season in NFL history, 540 points per game, 540 points total this season, 33.8 points per game. That's crazy. The Falcons this postseason, 309 yards per game, and the Packers 397 yards per game. This is, just to clarify, this is a defense allowing the yards per game allowed. Atlanta 309 yards per game allowed, and the Packers 397. Atlanta's playing better defense as of late. We also know that Atlanta has the edge in the running game. Ty Montgomery, the Packers' leading rusher, doesn't even have 500 rushing yards. Devontae Freeman, on the other hand, has eclipsed 1,000 yards and has 11 touchdowns. This will be a big factor here. I think the Falcons have undoubtedly the best running game, which gives them the edge in this one. And finally, in terms of the legacy factor, which I always like to talk about for each team, Matt Ryan, if he wins the NFC Championship game and goes on to win the Super Bowl, you put him in the Hall of Fame consideration in my book. I know it's one ring, but the historic pace this offense went on this year definitely puts him in the Hall of Fame consideration. And Aaron Rodgers, his third ring, greatest of all time contender, in my opinion. All right, moving on. Steelers, Patriots, 6:40 on January 22nd on CBS. Two key injuries here as well. Martellus Bennett for the Patriots, questionable with the knee injury. He was limited at practice. Tweaked his knee late in Saturday's win over Houston. Should play, according to Roto World. Had a quiet game against Pittsburgh. Earlier in the year, he just caught one pass. Of course, that was before the Patriots lost Rob Gronkowski, but this coming out of Roto World, 4:30 today. This will be a big one, because I think the Steelers have linebackers that can guard this guy. Ryan Shazier versus Martellus Bennett will be a very interesting matchup, because I think that's who they'll put on him. And I think Shazier has a very good chance, I expect him to shut down Martellus Bennett most of the day. That is assuming that they put him on Martellus Bennett. And then for the Steelers, doesn't seem as huge, but Ladarius Green, concussion and an illness as well. We had a flu that was traveling through the Steelers' locker room. So Ladarius Green did return to practice on Friday, didn't work with the first team, and is still in the league's concussion protocol. He's going to go to Foxborough, but no one knows if he's going to be out there against the Patriots. I think he could be an X factor against the Patriots if he does play. Hasn't played since Week 15, but it would be Jesse James drawing the start if Ladarius Green would sit. Nobody apparently covering the Steelers expects Green to play. This coming out of Roto World at 1:12 today. So those are two key injuries, two tight end injuries to be watching for the AFC Championship game. In terms of the quarterbacks, I mean, Ben versus Brady, I also wouldn't want to have this any other way. Brady has the edge in career meetings. This is the 9th meeting between these two quarterbacks. Brady is 6-2 against Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers. He's got the clear edge here. You also look at the Super Bowl titles. Tyler, I don't know if you know this, but these quarterbacks have a combined 6 Super Bowl rings. This is the most in NFL history by two quarterbacks in a playoff game. I did not know that until recently when I was just typing up these notes. The last time, however, that they met in the playoffs, Ben Roethlisberger was a rookie. He was leading the Steelers to an amazing season until the Patriots stopped them short in the playoffs. That was the last time they met in the playoffs. It's been over 12 years. Ben Roethlisberger and Tom Brady, statistically speaking, are not having amazing seasons. Tom Brady has the 28-2 touchdown to interception ratio, which is the best in NFL history, but because of the 4 games missed, his stats don't jump out at you. 3,554 yards. Roethlisberger, 3,819 yards. This is a huge quarterback matchup. And the quarterbacks are obviously the guys that you're going to be watching. But in this one, I'm giving the edge to the Pittsburgh Steelers because of that running game. I don't think they're going to be able to stop Le'Veon Bell. They can try to contain him. I don't think they're going to be able to do so. I'll give you my score prediction at the end here, but I'm going with the Steelers in this one. Tom Brady, like I said, 2 interceptions the entire 2016 season. He's doubled that total in the postseason in one game. The Texans picked him off twice last week, which is another thing in my opinion. Tom Brady and the Patriots got banged around against Houston. They were at home, but it was a tough game. They ended up winning. I'm nervous for them because I think they got banged around a lot. They did not have a good game despite the win. So that's going to be a big factor for me. They didn't have a good game against Houston. I expect the Steelers to take advantage of that. However, the Steelers, too, have a flu that's going around their locker room, so we'll have to keep monitoring that one. The Steelers have been playing some excellent football in the playoffs. They have 378 yards per game, and they've been allowing 266 yards per game to opponents. They've been playing some incredible football down the stretch, especially in the playoffs. And as for the legacy factor, like I mentioned earlier, for Tom Brady, he wins this game, and if he wins if he goes on to win the Super Bowl, he cements his status, obviously, as the greatest of all time. You have different quarterbacks that you can throw in the mix as potential greatest of all time contenders. Some people want to say Joe Montana. I personally probably still would give the edge to Joe Montana right now. If Brady wins the Super Bowl, status cemented as greatest of all time. And for Roethlisberger, if he can win another Super Bowl, I'm of the mindset that he jumps into the greatest of all time conversation. Not giving it to him, but he jumps into that conversation most definitely. So I'm going to go with Falcons, and I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers as the two winners in the AFC and NFC championship games.
I didn't know say biasness.
No bias at all. None. I'm definitely not a diehard Steelers fan that really hopes the Steelers can win another Super Bowl. But that's sarcasm for any of you wondering.
Yeah. Sarcasm is one of my many skills.
Both of us. I think we're very good at sarcasm.
Yeah. Alright, so to get on to some music news here real quick at the end. German industrial metal group Rammstein is releasing a DVD of their Paris show. I don't think... Yeah, they haven't announced which Paris show it was, so we won't know about that until later. But there have been some set list ideas of what the song order will be. Also, CJ from... or X, Thy Art Is Murder, has confirmed that he will be the new frontman of the band, and today they released a new single. You can check that out on, it's available on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube, anywhere they can play music. And lastly, Lars Ulrich, the drummer for Metallica, recently said he feels that new bands aren't as inspiring as the old ones, like Guns N' Roses, and who else did he say? He did mention a couple other ones, but I can't remember who off the top of my head.
It's an interesting word choice of inspiring.
Yeah. And he said he's fine. He's paying. He thinks the film industry is more inspiring than the music industry right now. And real quick, while I have a little bit of time, I want to know: would you agree with that?
The statement. Say it again. With the film industry is more. What did he say?
Inspiring than the music industry, because there's not as many influential acts.
Well, like I said before, inspiring is an interesting word choice. I would probably say that I have to agree with him, because I think a lot of the artists as of late, I use this word a lot in music, they're cliche, and it's easier to be cliche in music than I think it is in movies. You can be cliche in movies too, and I'm
every horror movie ever.
Really, I mean, yeah. But there have been some movies that have come out that I have really enjoyed recently. I've been excited to see. I'm looking forward to seeing some. But in terms of music, I feel like there's been a lot of cliche artists as of late, and so I think because of the more diversity, I think in the film industry, I would probably agree with him in that statement.
Yeah, I agree with you there too. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not going to just limit to one genre. I'm going to say most every genre has been like that recently.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, you do have some standout artists. The one that comes to my mind right now, the guy that just released a single, I believe it was last week, Ed Sheeran, dropped 2 singles. I feel like
Ed Sheeran, one of my favorite artists.
I feel like he's the main. He's a big one. I think who else is there? Avenged Sevenfold, like that. That's a big one. There's Avenged Sevenfold. The list goes on and on for a little bit until you then realize. Now, I feel like, not to crush your parade, but I feel like pop is the one that doesn't produce the most influential ones.
Pop is the more cliche of the genre.
And country. Pop and country are the 2 cliche ones. Now, metal, I can see the argument for that, but I feel like everybody there has a different style.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Even though they can be categorized into the same subgenre, they all have kind of same sound, but they're different at the same time.
This is a good topic for a show sometime. We can dive into this deeper.
Alright.
But unfortunately, we have, 20 seconds left?
Literally 20 seconds.
Alright. Guess that's all we got. Thanks for listening, and we will return sometime next week, I'm assuming, with some more podcasts. So, stay tuned.
Peace.